We got a Tony Award nominee on today's How Do I Know You? Don't go nowhere. Hit it.
The king, my queen, is dead.
Huh?
It's Shakespeare, kind of.
You watch too much PBS.
How can one watch too much PBS?
You don't need to know all that.
Yeah, well, it's harmless.
Whatever. You need to stop Golden Red.
I didn't do nothing to him.
That little charades trick you pulled.
No, I pulled a slip from the bowl just like everyone else.
You're upsetting him.
He didn't seem upset to me.
Well, he was. Just be nice to him.
Oh, how nice the quarrel was.
What?
It's Shakespeare.
If you bring up that dead old white man one more time, don't nobody want to talk about his ass. You act like he got all the answers. You look crazy out here quoting Shakespeare and shit.
Yeah, well, it seemed appropriate.
Appropriate my ass!
Oh my goodness, that is some serious work going on right there by my friend Nikki Crawford, who I'm going to bring on right now. And you know, I missed the show on Broadway. My wife got to see it. I'm jealous. Let's bring on Nikki Crawford! What's happening, baby?
Where did you get that footage from? That's from when we did it off Broadway at the Public.
Yes, it was. I knew that when I got it.
So much since Broadway.
It has.
Yes.
Well, I couldn't find. Well, I have some other things that I found primarily from the Tony stuff that you did, some of the ads, and I'm actually gonna be using some of that. But if you've got something you want to send me, obviously I can put it in for the final project if you want. Yeah. Well, anyway.
That's it.
It's so good to see you, superstar.
Oh, please. Yeah, it's great to see you too. This has been a whirlwind.
Oh, I can imagine. But you know, we've all been following you very dutifully online. And so thank you for sharing everything that you've been going through.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah.
So is the run over?
We closed Sunday. You
Okay.
know, since COVID, everything pretty much, like, especially plays are limited runs now. And we extended 1 week. Whoopi has been talking the show up on The View constantly since she came, which has increased ticket sales exponentially. We have done very well. And I'm going to miss this group of people so much. I love working with all of these actors, the producers, the crew. Everyone is James Imes, the playwright, Saheem Ali, the director. It's really just what a blessing all of this is, and I will miss them, but I need a break. You can hear it in my voice.
I bet.
I
can.
Yeah, I'm tired. And it's just I just need to shut down for like 6 weeks, and then I'm coming back to New York, and I'm gonna go.
Are you moving back to New York? Are you moving to New York?
Yeah.
You are.
I am. Yeah.
Oh, well, you know, I'm in Atlanta, so what am I saying? I'm not LA anymore. So go ahead, move to New York. You're closer.
Yeah, and it's like nowadays, you don't really have to be in New York, LA, or Atlanta in order to work. You can be really pretty much anywhere, When I auditioned for Fat Ham, I was in LA at the time, and I have bi-coastal agents, so I put it on. I filmed it, like we do, actors do since COVID. And then my callback was via Zoom, and then I got the offer right after the callback. So you can be anywhere. But yeah, I need to be in the epicenter of theater, especially ride out the strike until, things are worked out with that. And then I'll be back in LA at some point. But yeah, I'm good here.
So how's your mom doing? How's Ingrid?
She is great. She came for the Tonys. And I know she was exhausted because all of it just leading up to it, and it's tired. She's in DC right at the moment. She lives in Las Vegas, and she's moving back to DC. That's where I grew up. So Yeah, I am going down the day after we close, which is this Sunday. Monday, I will be in DC, and I'll be in DC until the 12th, and then I fly back to Vegas with her to help her pack up her house and then bring her back to DC.
Nice.
And then I'm having an 80th birthday party for her September 2nd.
Wow, 80.
Yeah, 80.
Wow. I'm telling you, man, time waits for none of us, but we're blessed to have our parents, at this stage in our lives. I still got mine is 90.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So my mom is in Detroit, so it's a blessing. Every single day we can wake up and still have our moms with us. And for them to see what she saw you accomplish.
I know.
So I want to, I was going to go a different direction, but we're going to stay on this for a second. Okay. So obviously I know a lot about your background because, we've been friends for a very long time. Yeah. And as I was doing a little bit of research for this program, I had almost forgotten all of the theater that you've done.
Oh yeah.
And even the Tony Award nominee, though it was a cool surprise, you've been nominated before for other stuff.
Oh,
in
and
theater.
Won. Yeah.
And won.
Yeah.
So let's go to Fat Ham for a second, because we've talked about this, but I want you to share this with the audience. You're primarily known for the music diva. I mean, the big voice, the big musicals, the big numbers, but yet
New York doesn't know that, though. That's what's so crazy. There's certain casting directors who know that I sing, but they see me as an actor, and that's the way I always wanted to come into New York. I didn't want to come in doing a musical, and I had the option to do that years ago, and I didn't want to do it. Because you get you get pigeonholed into a musical theater artist, and I always wanted to I see myself as an actor that can sing. And I started off as a dancer. So I danced with Washington Ballet, and triple.
Do you still dance?
I can dance better than the average person, but I had a double hip replacement at the top of COVID. I was born with dysplasia of the hips, so I've lost a lot of my flexibility. My Bob Mont used to be back here. Now it's like right here. I've lost some of the flexibility and I can dance. But.
See, I don't think I ever knew that you danced. I don't think I ever knew that.
That's what I thought I was going to be a ballerina. I was going to want to dance with New York City Ballet.
Do you ever do any of that dancing in any productions in LA?
I had.
Once you came out there?
Yeah, Stormy Weather, the show about Lena Horne. It was Leslie Uggams and I starred in that. I played the younger Lena, she played the older Lena, and I opened Act 2 doing an Alvin Ailey-esque number. It was Jamaica, the musical that Lena Horne did off Broadway. I think it was in the 50s. And it was like Alvin Ailey dance and singing. Yeah. So, I have. I don't really want to do that. 8 shows a week is rough. I don't even know if I really want to go back to doing musicals. You get paid a lot more, but you work much harder. It's a whole other type of discipline. So I don't know if I'm, who knows? If the right role comes, I might just say, okay, I'll go back to doing musical.
So the 8 shows a week, even with Fat Ham, I mean, as you say, you're exhausted. But it must be a blessing. Obviously, it's a blessing to be working every single day. Mm-hmm. But the theater grind is so much more taxing on your body, totally.
Very. People have
but how do you feel, though, right now, in spite of it all? I know you're tired, but...
I'm so grateful. I pray before I go on stage and just thanking the Lord for blessing me at this point in my life. And people are like, you're so humble. And it's like, I've struggled for so many years. And I've been in this industry for so many years. And to come here for my New York, really, debut with Fat Ham at the Public, and then transferring to Broadway so quickly, and then being nominated for a Tony, that's him. You know what I mean? Because there's so many people, like I wasn't even upset that I didn't get the award. Everybody in New York knows who I am now. And so just to be acknowledged in that way is such a blessing and so amazing. And I just think about all the people who came before us who were never acknowledged, that, you know what I mean, that like couldn't even really get on Broadway, who were just as talented, you know what I mean? And now there's so many roles for us.
Yes.
And that in itself is just such a blessing. So I'm just like, I'm grateful. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, I get on stage every night and I work with these amazing actors, and it's just, it never gets old. The writing is so brilliant, and it's just like, we're so fluid with one another.
Right.
And I just know that there's not a weak link in the cast. They're just wonderful. We're like family off stage.
So I, as you recount just then this amazing journey that you've experienced and knowing you personally, dumb question, but I'll ask it.
No dumb questions.
Was the Tony Award nomination really a surprise? What did you take us into the moment? Did you see that coming at all?
No, and I'll tell you, because there's awards leading up to that, like Drama Desk and stuff, and I wasn't nominated for that stuff, and so I thought, okay, well, no, but people around me kept saying, wait, are you ready? And I was like, ready for what? That's like saying, are you ready for stardom? Like, how do you get ready for that? You know what I mean? There's no book on that. And then I'm telling you, I went out with some friends of mine from Carnegie Mellon the night before. And I don't read reviews. I used to read them years ago. But good or bad, they have an effect on your performance. And I just want to always stay so focused on the work. I don't want to hear other people's opinions are not my business. You know what I mean? So I stayed away from all the hoopla, and then but you can't get away from that with social media. And so people are sending me, Variety has you listed as one of the top people being nominated, and this magazine and this, and I'm like, and I started feeling the pressure the night before, and I went out and had a few drinks with my friends, and I just broke down in tears because I was like, I just hope I don't let anybody down, if I'm not nominated. And it's like, I've tried to stay in this bubble and just stay focused on the work. And then when I woke up in the morning, I purposely went to bed late and took sleeping pills so I would miss the broadcast. No, seriously.
Right.
And I went to bed like at 3:00, and I took 2 sleeping pills. And then, I guess the broadcast comes on for the nominations around 8:00. What time do I wake up? 7:59.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And I put my phone on vibrate, and I said, well, if I'm nominated, my phone will blow up. Right. And so I saw a missed call from my manager, and I said, I'm not answering it, whatever. And then the cast has a group chat. And one of the cast members says, we were nominated for Best Play. And generally, Best Supporting, which is the category I was in, is named, they announce that before they do Best Actor and Best Play and all of that. So I said, okay, well, let me look real quick. And I looked online, and Marcel Spears, who's phenomenal in the show, who plays my son, he wasn't nominated. That category was so tough this year. There was all of it was and I said, well, if he's not nominated, I'm not going to be nominated.
Right.
And so I laid back down, and I said, I'm going to sleep. And then my phone starts vibrating. It's my manager in California, and I can hear the broadcast in the background.
Right.
And I said, Susan, I said I did. And then she starts screaming. And I said, I was nominated. I mean, when I tell you, Carl, I was shocked. I said, are you sure they said my name? She said, yes. I said, they said Nikki Crawford? Yes. I said, are you sure?
That's you.
And then everything changed May 2nd. Literally overnight. Then the publicist is calling, and CBS wants to talk to you. This person wanted, and you got to do this. And it was nonstop up until June 11th. And it's still been busy, but I was shot out of a cannon, and then having to do 8 shows a week.
Wow.
So it was a lot, but God never gives us more than we can handle. And I prayed for his strength, and he gave me the strength to just, and I gave everything I had. And I said, I just prayed to him. I said, whatever the outcome, win, take it home or not take it home, help me to accept whatever your will is. And I was fine. Once, we were at the ceremony, I was like, woo, okay, now I can eat and I can have a drink. I was fine. And
let me speak on that for a second because
I'm talking nonstop. Sorry.
No, it's all good. I'm happy to hear this whole story because I hadn't heard it. You and now talking about it.
Yeah.
But you know how they always have those award moments when they show all the nominees at the time they announce the winner, and you can see the clear attitude and feeling of either winning or losing in that moment. Which I don't think they should do that to people, but they do.
It's terrible.
I'm gonna tell you something. When you didn't win, the gratitude that you just expressed right now, still showed there. Yeah. You were totally cool. Yeah. It was obvious that you were blessed, that you knew how blessed you were. It was obvious that you were giving glory to God. It was obvious that you were grateful for the situation and the opportunity and all of that stuff. It read in your face. Yeah. So I don't know if you've heard that from anybody, but I can tell you, I watched it.
No, I have.
Yeah, you definitely play. I mean, it was just wonderful to see that.
Well, Carl, I was shocked when, because it's all in alphabetical order. So they, announce my name first, and the place erupted. And you know what I mean? Somebody comes to New York, nobody knows who you are. And then all of a sudden you sit at the Tony Awards and the whole place erupts. And I literally, that's why you see me go, I was like, oh my gosh. I mean, I know the show's a hit and everybody loves the show. I get stopped wherever I go, somebody's stopping me on the street. Oh my God. Oh, you know what I mean? The show is so well written and so beloved by so many people that it's the love is just real. But being amongst your peers and stars and all of that, and then hearing that was just unbelievable. Yeah. So hopefully I'll get one of these days. Yeah. So.
Well, one of these days, that's virtually assured. You're virtually assured of that. So let me speak a little bit about where you go from here and how you see your business. When you were in LA, in our tribe, which I'm gonna get to that a little bit too, you are definitely a part of that LA experience that I had for many years, 20 plus years in LA. Yeah. We were pursuing this film and TV thing.
Yeah.
And I hope it still happens for me, but I'm enjoying my journey. But do you still see that for yourself, or are you cool with doing the New York theater thing? What do you see next for you?
Oh no, definitely film and TV, and that will, and I know that will happen. I can't talk about some things right now,
right?
So, but that will happen, and thankfully, Broadway is a springboard into that. I had Harry Abrams of Abrams Artists saw me in Stormy Weather years ago. And I at the time was looking for, to try to move up agency wise. And he met with me, he's the nicest guy. And he met with me for like an hour and a half. And he says, "Nikki, you're phenomenal. But LA doesn't see theater in the same way." And in the way he saw it, he really loves actors. And he said, "Go to New York and win the Tony." And then he said, "You can do whatever you want in LA." And I remember telling my manager, because she's friends with Harry Abrams, and I said, I want, part of me, of course you want the award, but it's like, I also wanted to be able to go back and say, "You're right. You're right." But but also just the nomination takes my salary up exponentially now. That will always precede my name now. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's a win-win no matter what, especially for my Broadway debut. And this ain't it. It's funny. It's changed since the public. The dialect that I use is much stronger now, and everything's just more grounded. So I watch that and I'm kind of like, But people, I had an interview with the Washington Post, and the journalist said, "You embody the character so well. I actually, essentially he said in so many words, you're so articulate." And I said, we don't question when Meryl Streep does a Russian accent, but we see a Black person who's playing Southern and, and maybe a little, less educated than,
Yes, they are.
That's who they are. And it's like, I can go do some Chekhov. Or Shakespeare or whatever. I'm a trained, actress, classically trained, So I'm just excited and that I have this range, and I can't wait to show them what else I have, because they ain't seen nothing yet.
Well, listen, I know that already. And so this is a great time to pivot to the theme of this podcast. You know, it's called How Do I Know You?
Yes.
And so with you, how do we meet? I know where it is, but how do I know you, Nikki Crawford? Was
it from Retiring Tatiana? Is that where I thought we met before that.
We actually did meet before that.
Okay.
But Retiring Tatiana is an easy jump off point because that's where I think our relationship was cemented. But
please do me a favor, don't show anything from that film. You know, I saw you tag me and I hate that song. I hate it with a passion because I can hear I'm pitchy, and it's like we recorded it in somebody's closet at like 2:00 in the morning, and I was tired, and I listened to it. And I'm just like, I know the acting's there, but it's like
okay. So let me ask you this. Let me ask you, given that idea, nothing from the film or just the song?
Just that song.
Okay. All right. I got you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, it's just, it's hard for me to watch myself. I can be so self-critical. Even watching The Public, which was, we got.
But you're so good. But I know that. But and I didn't see the play either way, so I don't know the difference. But your work in that clip is phenomenal.
Well,
but I know that it's probably better now because obviously you've been doing it for a long time and it's elevated from on Broadway now, so I get that. But anyway,
yes.
Okay, so let's go back to how we met. So let me tell you how what I remember.
Yeah.
So before Retiring Tatiana, I was in the Bill Duke boot camp. Remember?
Right.
With Tempest Bledsoe.
Yes.
And your best friend. So that was one. You used to come hang around her.
Yes.
And then there was a time, which I know would be funny to think about now, but there was a time that I remember that Tony Winters was interested in you as more than a friend. So
he's gonna be mad at you for bringing that up.
I don't care. I don't care. But he's not. He's gonna laugh. But yeah, so that's what I remember. And then I remember one time going to the bank. It might have been the credit union or something. And I saw you in the credit union. We spoke briefly. And then, of course, Tatiana happened. Yeah. And then after Tatiana, it's just been, I was going through like Facebook, going through memories. Yesterday, I put in both our names. Mm-hmm. And there was all these posts that talking to each other. Oh. And then, oh my God, stuff with you telling me to call you tomorrow. And it's just really just. So to see what's happening for you is just so encouraging to see you rise because you said, you spent a lot of time. Tony said, but I just did a thing with Tony and Dick White, and one thing Tony said was, something about in this business that 20 years is an overnight sensation. So if anybody understands what you're going through, and you're doing it with such grace and fun and joy.
Yeah.
And that's just so cool to see you go through that. Because I know.
Yeah, I know you know. Yeah.
Yeah. You and I have done a few projects together. It was not just Tatiana, but weren't you in The Dreamers with Art Evans and Glenn Turman, Christina Harley.
For a second. And then I dropped out, yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, applause from Ms. E and all these people, all these things. So prior to this role, what has your television and film experience been? Anything of memory that you really dug of being a part of? I know from here it's going to be much different, but, prior to... Go ahead.
Yeah. I started working with my management company, Susan Zachary, Zachary Company. And she came, I signed with her probably about 2 years ago, I would say, maybe 2 years. And she changed my life. Mm-hmm. Like in terms of the roles, this is why it's so important to have representatives who understand what you're capable of doing. And she gets me. So they're not sending you some bullshit of, excuse my language, sorry. But, sending you stuff that it's just, that you got it. You know what I mean? That's not, you know, who you are.
Right.
And so and then I'm with Maverick Artist Agency for TV and film, and they just get me and the roles, and then I just started booking, guest starring, you know, like boom, I mean, sometimes 2 times in a week, like it was unbelievable. So I'm trying to get back to what you asked me. You said, is there anything memorable? You know what I did, I guest starred on Criminal Minds, and I was the only surviving victim. And I just remember, oh God, what is his name? Really, oh God. You
talking about? Oh gosh, he was in The Godfather 3.
Was
that dude, with maybe older dude, the actor.
I'm gonna look it up right now as we're talking. So, but that to me was just unbelievable to work on that. I mean, I got a severe migraine just because I had to cry and cry and cry for like 12 hours a day. But all right, hold on. I love working with him, and oh God, I feel so bad.
Joe Mantegna, is that him?
Thank you. He directed it. Not Joe Mantegna. No, not Joe Mantegna.
No, not him. Okay.
Wait, but why does that sound so familiar?
Because I think he's on the show. I think, or he was on the show.
Where is this on my IMDb? Yeah. And then, like, you know, 911, I guest starred on there. What was it, last year? And they offered, it was an offer based off of a tape that they said they wrote a part for me to play. Yeah. So, I mean, things that, oh, yeah, here it is. And I'm sorry. But I wanted to, but he's a theater director as well. He directed a show. Of course, my internet's not working that great in here, but he directed me in that episode. He's one of the series regulars, and you know who he is. Oh, it is Joe Mantegna.
It is him. Yeah, because that's who I thought of. He's the veteran on the show, and he's been on there for a long time. He seems like it.
Yeah,
I think he's a New Yorker, and he's just, you know, that's one of those cats I'd love to work with one day.
Yeah, no, he's wonderful. I worked with Mike Nichols before he passed, you know.
But yeah, that was on Spam-A-Lot, right?
That was on Spam-A-Lot, but right. I learned so much about comedy from him. And to this day, I take we would just sit. Oh, look at you. You're so prepared. This is so good, Carl. But yeah, we would just sit in my dressing room and just spend, you know, just talking, you know, I would just, and, you know, I could call him at home. I could call him at his office, you know what I mean? He was an actor's director. And that's what I feel about Joe Mantegna as well.
Well, Mike Nichols is legendary. I mean, you're talking about, you know, The Graduate and, you know what I'm saying? This dude.
Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf?
Oh, yes.
Come on now.
Yep.
I mean, and I would talk to him. He would tell me stories about Judy Garland and
Elizabeth Taylor.
Yes, all of them. And it was like just hearing him talk about him so casually. And I was like, this is nothing for it. You know what I mean? Like I forget sometimes because he was just so lovely and we had such a wonderful relationship that I forgot. I was like, well, I'm sitting with this legend, but I'm hearing about these stories and I'm just like a little child. I was like, tell me about this and tell me about when you produced Whoopi's show on Broadway and you discovered it. And he's like, I don't believe in that bullshit, Nikki. He's like, he would have been famous without me. And
right.
So, you know, and at the time he was shooting Charlie Wilson's War. And I asked him, I said, so, you know, when he came back from LA, I said, what do you think of the film? You know, and he says, I think it's good. And he says, I hope so. And I looked at him and I said, wow. I said, that never goes away. That, you know what I mean? That self-doubt, you know what I mean? He said, it'll never go away.
Never.
You know? Never. And I think after he won his 8th Tony, I think when he, on his acceptance speech, he said, I think he said, I gave up a long time ago. I mean, you have to, I mean, his career spanned, what, 50 years?
Yeah. He's a legend.
Like,
he's a legend.
He really was. Meryl Streep, he talked about the first time seeing her on Broadway and their relationship. And it's just, I've been blessed to work with some incredible
people. But he actually handpicked you for Spam-A-Lot, yeah?
He did, yeah.
How did that happen? How did he come across your work?
So, Casey Nicholas, who just won the Tony for Some Like It Hot this past Tony ceremony. Casey Nicholas is also director and choreographer. And Casey was directing, I can't remember the name of the show. And they had me come in and I sing. Normally you'll sing a song and they erupted in applause after I sang, and then they had me sing 4 other songs. I sang 5 songs. They just wanted to hear me sing. They were entertained. So I remember leaving that audition, and I called my agent, and I was like, I know I'm getting a call, but no, it's not going any further. I said, I sang 5 songs. They were clapping. She said, yeah, sorry, Nikki. So, okay, I let it go, whatever. And then 6 months later, whatever, they started talking about Spamlat, me coming in to do in the Broadway company, and I had already won the Tony, and I was like, nah, I'm good. I was at the time and I was in love, and,
Right.
remember Ben, and I wasn't really, I just wasn't, I don't really want to do this. So they kept calling, and I kept turning it down. They finally said, we're going to be in LA. And I said, okay. And I said, well, how many songs do I have to learn from the show? They said, oh, they want you to sing all 5. So I went in and I learned like 3 of them, I think, or 4. And when I walked into the room, Casey Nicholas was sitting there. He was the choreographer on Spamlat. And our eyes locked, and I went, oh. And he was like, yeah. Basically, he knows that I have kept turning it down. He says, Nikki, from that audition 2 years prior, or whatever it was, he said, I knew you were the Lady of the Lake. And I said, so you just never, right. That's why it's so important to give 1,000% for every audition, because you never know, it could lead to another huge opportunity. So anyway, cut to the callback, which was at Paramount Studios. That's not normal for musicals, but they told me later on they had it on a sound stage because they wanted whoever to play the Lady of the Lake, because it's this big diva glam role. They didn't want her, the actor playing it, to be intimidating in any way.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I kind of I was prepared. I knew all the songs, and I had worked my ass off. And there's about 25 people behind a table. And then Mike Nichols is just sitting in a suit with his sunglasses on.
Okay.
Doesn't say anything, whatever. And I, maybe I have a little bit of nerves, whatever. And so the musical director said, well, why don't you start with the first song? He said, no, this is the song I want us to sing. And I wanted to sing the last song the Lady of the Lake sings, called Whatever Happened to My Part. I said, that's the song I want to start with. So you could feel it in the room that she was like, okay, I'm taking control, but that's what you do. And Jeff Rizzo was the pianist, who I love the way Jeff plays. And I sang that part. And the sound, how big sound stages are. And my voice filled that place. And I knew I sang, and I held that last note out till the end of time as a D flat, and I was just in great voice. And they all erupted in applause, and Mike Nichols took his sunglasses off, and he says, after that, you can do whatever the fuck you want. I was like, oh my God. So I, sang the rest of the songs, and then Mike got up, came over to me, took my hand and kissed it. And he said, it's such an honor to meet you. And I was like, you're Mike Nichols. And then I got it. So there you go. That's that story. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So Nikki, I don't want to hold you beyond the time we agreed on, and I just appreciate you for coming on and doing this podcast. We're on strike, and I ain't got nothing to do. I'm in Atlanta.
You always have something to do, Carl. You stay busy. I'm telling you, you are such a star. Everybody. And I just always admire your hustle and the fact that you're so gregarious and affable and that how you know everybody. You know what I mean? I'm not socially, I can be awkward at times. Certain people I can hang out with, you can flow and move in the rooms, and that's so important in this industry, you know what I mean? So I've always admired that about you. And this, I didn't expect all of this. Looks so great. You know what I mean? And so I just admire you. I always have. So
well, I appreciate that, Nikki. But I really, I'm a fan of yours for a very long time. I know we're doing this mutual admiration thing, but it's true. Worked with you several times. I've seen your hustle, your high level of professionalism and talent. Yeah. That you're so deserving of what's happening with you right now. And I'm just glad I got to see you because my wife got to go. I'm like, why you get to go see the play? How come you get to go? But it's because she had the thing with her son, and she likes to go visit, And
he's so wonderful.
Yeah, he's very cool.
Yeah. He is wonderful. Yes.
So, Nikki Crawford, thank you for coming on How Do I Know You?
Yes.
And best wishes. I'm going to be watching your ascent. We'll be in touch, and I'll be texting you when I see you win the Tony next time, and when you win Oscars, and when you're doing big movies or Emmys or whatever.
Or we just did recorded the cast album, so it's
what you did what now?
We recorded the cast album, so we could possibly be nominated for a Grammy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we just.
Wait a minute, are there songs in the show?
No, well, there's 2 songs. I do a karaoke number, but it's silly. But no, but the Audible books get nominated for Grammys.
Right.
So it's an Audible.
Nice.
So work towards that EGOT, right?
That's right.
I got 4 to go.
You got 4 to go. 4 to go in about 5 years. You can do it. Eat one a year. Ooh, I'm out.
All things are possible.
That's right. All things. That's right. Yeah. All things are possible.
Yeah.
All right, my dear. I'm gonna cut you loose and make you to your day. Back to you. And after Sunday, get a lot of rest.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Nikki Crawford. Love you.
Love you too.
All right, Nikki Crawford. You just heard it. Yes, all things are possible. And here's my cup. My cup overflows with blessings. Yes, indeed. God, all things are possible. Thank you, Nikki Crawford. How do I know you? He's out.